Only two things are visible. One is the Great Wall of China, the other is Patrick Moore, tonight's TV legend. He's a musician, an eccentric, and for the last 40 years he's been working nights as the host of TV's longest ever running series.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. And a very happy new year to you all. Stars, whatever you're looking at.
With Patrick Moore at the helm, the Sky at Night has steered clear of flashy graphics and TV wizardry, sticking resolutely to its own tried and tested formula. Astronomy, astronomy, and more astronomy.
It's pointing due south. People like it. And therefore, if it works, why change it? And we haven't. Even the same music.
And the same goes for the 1908 typewriter, at which he's hammered out 4 decades worth of Sky at Night script. Remarkably, Patrick still regards himself as an amateur, even after writing 60 books and having an asteroid named after him. 50 million light-years away back on Earth, Patrick Moore's star base is Selsey, West Sussex. At home, when he's not tinkering with his telescopes, you're liable to find him composing waltzes. Or exercising on the bone shaker bike he's had since boyhood. The young Patrick was a sickly child. A weak heart often confined him to bed. There, one day, he read a book that was to change his life. It belonged to his mother, who was fascinated by outer space. Her drawings of little green men awoke a passion that was to last a lifetime. But when war broke out in 1939, a promising career was put on hold as Patrick enlisted as a navigator in RAF Bomber Command. There was a wartime romance and then tragedy as his girlfriend was killed.
I've never married. No secret there. My girl was killed during the war and there was nobody else for me, so I remained a bachelor, which I regret very much, but these things happened. I missed out on family life, but blame the late Herr Hitler.
After the war, Patrick began to build a reputation as an astronomer, and when in April 1958 he was offered the chance to host a new series for the BBC, a star was born.
Good evening. Well, I'm afraid Burnham's comet turned out to be something of a disappointment.
In the programme's 40 years, he's covered everything from lunar landings
I was strolling on the moon one day.
to solar eclipses.
And that is the end of this eclipse of the century, and by Jove, was it worth seeing.
But nothing's made him more famous than his style, much imitated but uniquely his own.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to this special... Now, a lot of people have been writing into the Sky Night asking various questions about astronomy. Well, it is a fascinating subject.
The impersonators may be good, but the man himself has usually gone one better.
No one can accuse me of failing to laugh at myself. I remember years ago, 2 comedians were doing a turn, so the 2 East End comedians not doing too bad, looking at there. That was myself and Magnus Pike. We were the hit parade of 1887.
In the TV galaxy, few bodies shine brighter than Patrick Moore. But how does our favourite starman envisage the future? Will science fiction become science fact?
Next century, lunar bases, men to Mars, contact with other civilizations? I don't know. I'd love to see it. Very sadly I won't, but after all, others will.
Patrick Moore may never visit Mars, but his journey on our little planet has never been less than out of this world. 40 years ago, one Saturday afternoon, men all over the country sat down in front of the telly to eat their tea and discovered a new and wonderful excuse for not mowing the lawn. It was called Grandstand, and it's been keeping the grass long ever since. So as a 40th birthday tribute to the show that made Desmond Lynam a god, television's greatest hits presents an indispensable guide to sport on the box.
Well, we've got a great day of sport lined up for you this afternoon, and I'm glad to say the big race of the afternoon is the 2:15, the handicap mile at Doncaster.
I've got no E on my typewriter.
Use an A instead of the E.
Hello? Exactly what the problem is. But Murray Walker is our reporter out there.
The director, he wants us to move our things back in. We'll never be seen now.
Right, we've also got women's hockey this afternoon. That's always a popular event. 77,000.
But even on this evening's form, he shouldn't have any trouble with this shot, for goodness sake. Oh. Extraordinary. That's the 5th easy shot he's missed on the trot. Something really seems to be upsetting his game. But David seems to be moving this way. Oh, temper. Pretty bad behavior from a former champion of any...
You see the concentration there on his face as he goes for the red, and the cue ball is travelling up the table now where Billie Jean King serves it. It's 2 games all, second set, having won the first set 6-3. A wonderful, wonderful little woman, this Mrs. King. Mrs. King, formerly known, of course, as the Queen. Here we see her wearing those frilly lace panties we've all become so familiar with. And they're off! Oh, and Farmer Boy has gone into the lead. The number 9 Jack is following behind them. Jackson the third. Yellow Sands is there and coming fast on the inside. Is number 14. No, it's number 17. Jack and Doris watch. Doris's dress is a brilliant cerise with silver lamy on the bodice. Always a joy to watch. Just going by at the back there is Myra Higgs. Myra was trained by the great Peggy Spencer and ridden by Lester Big.
Do we need a structured game? Just look at the Brazilians.
Oh, those Brazilians, you know, circa 1970. Broke the mould, didn't they? You know, theory out the window. Free expression of football. Uncategorisable. Is that a word? It is now. You know, far cry from the English game, isn't it? Small boys in the park, jumpers for goalposts, rush goalie, 2 at the back, 3 in the middle, 4 at the front. One's gone home for his tea, beans on toast, possibly, don't quote me on that, marvellous.
This time is going to be Italian, Giovanni Giovanni. Now the Swedes hate the Italians even more than the French, so Roslin will be making a special effort here. Here he goes.
Look at the good shot! Roslin with his red. Yes, he's done it. He got the eye out in both legs.
And that's almost it for this week and this series. We leave you now, as always, with a timeless musical gem. This time from the late, great Les Dawson. From me, good night.